Okay, Andy, so if everybody's fit, the back five, the back four and the goalkeeper pick itself, would you have that with Lundstram, Raskin, Sakala? Well, hang on. Sorry, what would be you tell me what your 11 would be, Andy, if everybody was fit?
Right, well, obviously McGregor and goals, Tavernier, Goldson, Davies, Barisic is your back four, I think, is pretty much nailed on as the starting defence. Certainly, I agree with Scott. As much as I don't think John Lundstram has been at his absolute peak this season and has been actually disappointing in quite a few games, I'm still not entirely convinced that Glenn Kamara is back in top form either, and I'm quite intrigued. We've obviously had a couple of small glimpses of Kemar and Raskin together. It'd be quite interesting to see how Raskin and Lundstram slot in alongside each other. I mean, I thought Raskin was terrific on Saturday. Just such a positive influence, in that midfield. Every time he gets in the ball, his first intention is to pass forward, and that might seem, quite a simplistic thing to say, but I think for so long this Rangers defence has been a bit steady, a bit cautious, a bit, the first instincts to pass backwards or sideways. I think we've got somebody in there that is so direct and just wants to get the ball into the feet of the striker or the number 10s. It just makes such a difference. It adds a new dynamic to this team. And I think if you could add him alongside perhaps the steeliness of Lundstram, and I think Raskin puts himself about as well. So I think that could be an interesting blend. So I'd be quite interested to see how they two get along. And then as for the rest, I think if Tillman, okay, I said earlier on, it's not a game for somebody at 80% fit, but if he's 90% fit and above, I think you go Tillman, because I think he's such a... He has been in such good form since Michael Beale took over. Ryan Kent is an absolute stick-on. Yeah. And I tend to think, again, this isn't a game that you can gamble on, but the way that Kemar Roofe has back, obviously, had that shoulder injury in the semi-final, but looked so sharp against Aberdeen before he got that. Looked really sharp when he came on. If he's fit, and that's a big if, because he's only played a handful of games this season, in its entirety. But if he's fit, I think his quality. I think he's just got a lot more quality than Sakala. Sakala's also offer you a different type of option, but Roofe's such an intelligent player, and did so well when Michael Beale was here previously, assisting Steven Gerrard the year they won the league. I think if he's fit, I would be tempted to throw him in, because he did look sharp when he came on at the weekend again. Maybe if you can only go for an hour, that's fine. Then you've got someone like Sakala to come on who could exploit the spaces as the game's opening up when legs are tiring. So, and then Morelos up front would be my pick. So that would be probably how I would go. If again that comes down to these likes of Tillman and Roofe being fit enough.
Scott, I was going to say Sakala, Tillman, Kent, and then Morelos up front before I stopped myself. I think that's the kind of team that people are generally maybe expecting. Okay, Andy's made an argument for Roofe. What I was going to say, I mean, there was a bit of a debate immediately after the Livingston game of whether Roofe ahead of Morelos, but I mean, do you think there's any chance of that, Scott? Is there any argument to be made to play Roofe ahead of Morelos centrally?
I think in a perfect world, Gavin, this is only my opinion, I think in an ideal world, Michael Beale would start Kemar Roofe up front ahead of Alfredo Morelos. But Roofe's fitness is such that I don't think he's quite ready for that yet, to go in for the start as the number 9. I don't really think Rangers, again, fitness-wise, can rely on him to do that job just yet. But I think I've said on here before, I think of all the strikers Rangers have got, Roofe is the one that Beale rates the highest. So if everything was perfect fitness for him, I think there's every chance that Roofe would start ahead of Morelos through the middle. I mean, it's interesting what Andy says, because I hadn't really, when I was thinking about the team, I hadn't really thought about playing Roofe and Morelos, but it is an option. I mean, Roofe played that role kind of slightly off the right, the kind of three-pronged attack. He played that a lot in the title-winning season. I think Andy will correct me if I'm wrong, but Beale does like him there. And he has always said since he came back, Beale, that he'd like to get 2 proper strikers in that 3. He's mentioned a few times about Cholak, Morelos playing together and stuff. Obviously, Roofe was unfit. So it's interesting that as an option. My instinct says he probably will go with Sakala, but Roofe is certainly an option off the right if he's fit enough, as Andy says, to go in beside Morelos. And I definitely think that would give Celtic a different problem.